Great. So, Andy, were you surprised by the lack of knowledge about our Social Security benefits?
In one sense, I was a little bit surprised in the sense that people get a Social Security statement that gives them a pretty good estimate of what their benefit will be. On the other hand, though, if people aren't paying close attention to the statement, then it's very, very difficult for them to estimate their benefits on their own. The Social Security benefit formula is very complicated, so a typical person would have a very hard time doing that on their own. So in one sense, I'm not surprised by that.
Were there any specific pieces of knowledge that you thought they should definitely know and they had no clue about?
Well, the key thing I looked at is, do people know what their benefit is going to be? That was the issue. The Social Security statement provides a range of information, including information on how the program works, on the person's past earnings, so they can correct the earnings record if it's wrong. It gives a little bit of information about the Social Security solvency issue, but the key issue I was looking at is it provides an estimate of their Social Security benefits at retirement if they're disabled or if they leave a survivor. And so what I was looking at was, does the statement's estimate of benefits help their knowledge of what their benefits will actually be? So I compared what people predicted their benefits would be to what they actually turned out to be. A lot of people are pretty close, but a lot of people are not close at all, and that's kind of worrying.
So, what are some of the causes of over or underestimating the benefits?
Well, you can never say in any particular case, but what you do find when I look through the data is people with higher education tended to be slightly better at estimating their benefits, but not incredibly so. There was a slight benefit to education. Men did tend to be better at estimating their benefits than women. One reason for that, though, is women can often collect what are called auxiliary or spousal benefits based on their husband's earnings record. That means that the calculation for them is twice as hard. They have to know what their own benefits might be, and they have to know the benefits they could claim from their husband, and that they get the greater of the two. So it is a tougher calculation for the typical woman than it is for the typical man.
So, what would be a recommendation to make it easier, say, for example, for women to calculate their benefits?
Well, one thing that we can do through the Social Security Online Benefit Estimator is currently it can estimate your own benefits based on your own earnings record. I think it may be possible for Social Security to link people's earnings records, to link the husband to the wife, so that a wife could get a good feeling for what her benefits might be, even if they're based on the earnings of her husband. That's something that's difficult to do through the printed statement, but I think online, as long as you have sufficient privacy controls, I think that could be done.
It sounds very exciting. What would you recommend to encourage people to start looking at their statement more carefully as they approach retirement? Or when should they start looking at it?
Today. Look at you receive the statement every year around 3 months before your birthday. That's a great time to start thinking about it. Look at your statement, get a feeling for what your benefits might be. Then look at, are you participating in your 401k? How much money are you putting into that pension? Are you expecting a pension from your employer? And that's a good sort of impetus to start planning for retirement, because it's never too early to start. So I think that's the key thing, that as soon as you get it, start thinking about it. Every worker over age 25 receives a Social Security statement every year, and now SSA is including new inserts into the statement that are relevant for people of different ages. For younger people, it talks about the benefits of saving and of compound interest. For older folks, it talks about, well, what are the things you should think about when deciding when to retire. So there's really some new information in the statement now that's relevant to people of different ages.
A lot of the financial literacy information can be very overwhelming for people, and you've given us some ideas about the new things we can add to the statement. In order to simplify it, are there things you would recommend that maybe we take out or partition and only give to people when it's relevant, or maybe when they've actually retired or when they're older?
Well, the Social Security statement is very dense with information. It's only a few pages long, but it's relatively small type, and it contains a ton of information that covers a whole range of possibilities. A lot of those possibilities won't apply to the typical person. For instance, it has information for people who who work in jobs they're not covered by Social Security. That's a small percentage of the population. One option would be simply to refer those people to online information, which gives you a little bit more space in the statement itself. You can back out a little bit from all the detail and try to emphasize the key things we want people to understand. Here are the benefits you can expect to get. Here's how those benefits rise if you decide to delay retirement, and then here's some other information about the program. So I think sometimes less can be more. Figure out the few things you want people to know, emphasize those things. For the other things, we should point people to the website, because that's where you can get the real information you need.
Now, what's the possibility of tailoring the statement for different groups? For example, people with disabilities. Is there some way of making that part simpler as well and not putting everything in one statement?
I think it is possible to do this. One thing, or one advantage that Social Security has over anybody else in the country is that we have information about people. That when we send you the statement, we know your age, for instance. And financial planning issues are very different based on how old you are. So Social Security is already tailoring the inserts into the statement based on age, but it might be possible to go further with that and have the statement change from year to year based on the age of the individual. An additional advantage to that is when people see something new in the statement, they tend to read it. If the statement is the same from year to year, they may just put it to the side, meaning they're going to miss some essential information.
I think what you said is absolutely critical. People get inoculated. How will the new addition of benefits at age 70, along with those at age 75, change knowledge of the Social Security benefits?
Well, one thing I'm not sure people really understand very well is how big a difference to your benefits can arise by delaying retirement. 62 is the most common age for people to claim benefits. That's the earliest age that you can claim. But if you claim benefits at 62, you accept a 25% benefit cut relative to claiming the normal retirement age, which is 66. Relative to claiming at age 70, you get only around half as much per month. And that benefit cut doesn't just last for a few years, it lasts forever. For the rest of your life, you're going to be getting 25% less. And so I think emphasizing that a little bit more and giving people more information about the benefits of delaying retirement, it can be really, really helpful. As we go into the future and people are living longer, working a few more years is a great option for improving your retirement income security. I think we can give people a little bit more information on that.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.